Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me. He loves us. He loves us more than words could ever say. He is awesome. Um, I've had some problems making the videos. I'm still trying to iron it all out. But for now, it seems like this is the way that they're going to go right here on YouTube. And I'll have to work out a schedule because I have other things that we must do, such as taking care of a 5-year-old, getting him on and off the bus, taking care of him on the weekends, etc. But looks like it's going to be YouTube. And I pray that this will be the right decision. At least I know I can share these to Facebook and they will work, because yesterday I made a video. It was my heart, and it would not share. It would not share. It was straight from the heart of God, and it would not. Every person who tried to open it would send me a message and say, this won't open. Every person who got a link in their messenger said, it won't open. And I went through, I sent the messages, I checked my link. It's working on my end. And it would not work for them. I have it saved to my Google. When I can figure out how to work it, I'll post it. Look, I know I said it the other day, but Psalm 23 says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Jeremiah 29:11 says, he knows the plans he has for me. And they're not plans to harm me. They are plans to give me a hope and a future. Well, my future is with Christ. My future is with him. My hope is that he will return and we will abscond. We will check out of here. If we don't ever get to abscond in my lifetime, I'm not going to worry about it, because in Revelation it says that when that trumpet sounds, the dead in Christ will rise first. Hey, I could be among the first. It also says, then those that are left here, we that are living Christians, will rise to meet him in the air. How glorious will be the love of them. The love and it's indescribable to be with Jesus, to actually be with Jesus. What a glorious day. But I am a victim of amazing grace. He saved me when I was 8 years old. All through my life, there's been times that I would turn away, and I can see where God just let me go just a little bit, and he drew me right back to him. I'm a victim of amazing grace. The times that I was taken into an emergency room. One time in 1990, they did a sonogram. The doctors, I was in so much pain they couldn't touch me. They had to give me a lot of stuff for pain. And then the doctor said, need a sonogram right now. And they did the sonogram and took me back in, and he examined me. And he told my husband there was something in my abdomen that was that big around. He said, we're going in to get it right now. Nope. I said, I need time to call the pastor and tell him what's happening. I want prayer. So while they were prepping me for surgery, it took them about 45 minutes. My husband, it seems like my mother was there. I'm not sure who all was there, but there were a few people who had come. And those people, we were all holding hands. And our pastor prayed that he prayed for a miraculous healing when they took me into surgery. And after I woke up, they told me there was nothing there. Nothing. He took my ovaries in tubes to prove he had been in there for something so the insurance company would pay him. There was nothing. I remember telling that doctor about 3 months later, I said, I feel like you took my insides out and played with them. Played baseball. And he said, well, I didn't play baseball, but I did have them laid all over the table. He said, I knew there was something there. But when we got in there was nothing. Nothing. I was in the hospital about 7 to 10 days. And the day before I left, they wouldn't let me get up. My blood pressure had gone so low that they would not let me get out of bed without help. And so the day before I left, they had finally let me come out of my room and walk down the hall. Because if I couldn't walk down the hall at the hospital, I couldn't go home. So I'm walking down the hall, and a lady, came up to me, and she said, you're still here? And I said, yeah, they won't let me go home. Blood pressure's too low. She said, no, you don't understand. She said, I was in the recovery room with you. We lost you for 15 minutes. And my father was there. And he saved me. And he sent me back because he had to tell me something. God had a plan for me. She said they lost me for 15 minutes. They called the doctor. He came in. And I drew a breath. And it never went on my chart that I had coded. None of that ever showed up. Because the doctor wasn't there to chart it. In 2001, I was in a hospital in Terrell, Texas. And I was going through a lot of tests. They had told me I had lupus. And I said, I don't know what that is, but in Jesus' name, I don't have it. And so the woman ran blood tests. She called me and said, it's not lupus, it's rheumatoid arthritis. And she put me on Vioxx. Now, if you're old enough to remember Vioxx, you know what I'm talking about. I took that for about a week. Went back to work. My skin was yellow. It was bad. I went back to work, and the assistant manager, I was working in a restaurant at the time. I was getting my tips and going home. I had managed a Dairy Queen with teenagers and just didn't want to do that right then. I thought I had just needed a break, so I was working as a waitress. And she came up behind me and she said, you don't look like you feel good. I said, I don't. And when my shift is over, I'm going to the hospital. And it wasn't 5 minutes. She had me out of that building. She told me she'd drive me, and I said, no, my kids are meeting me there. My daughter-in-law and my son are meeting me there. So I'm in there 7 days. On the Sunday, before they released me on Tuesday, and they were running tests every day. They tested from here down to my toes. And every time they'd go looking for something, it wasn't there. And on Sunday afternoon, I was praying that God would show them the problem so I could go home. They had no monitors on me, nothing. I'm just laying in the bed drawing their IV because couldn't hold anything down. And all of a sudden there was an instant darkness, and then I was in a very bright place. And I was going forward. I was moving toward the source of light. I felt very peaceful, very calm. To me, it didn't take but a second. And I opened my eyes, and there was a weight on my feet. And I sat up, and my daughter-in-law had been washing my gown every day. I had 2 gowns there. They would come and get one and switch them out. And there was a bag on my feet that had my gown in it. And I grabbed my phone and I called my son and I said, come back. I am here. I am awake. Come back. Come back. He said, Mom, that was 45 minutes ago. It was 45 minutes ago. I heard my granddaughter calling me and I turned around and came back because my baby was calling me. She was 2 years old, maybe 1. He said, that was 45 minutes ago. I've already gone to Walmart, got everything I needed, and gone home. Well, it didn't make any sense to us. But 3 weeks later, another doctor, another hospital, he said, there's a kidney stone right there, and I'm going in to get it. A comedy of errors to find this kidney stone. And they had told me I had a staph infection. I was in bad shape. I had staph broke out all over my arm. So they put me in the hospital, and they're going to do the surgery for the kidney stone. They're going to do he wanted to do a laser, and he found out the laser wasn't available, so he said, we'll do the hydrolithotripsy. It'll have to be a little bit different, but we'll have to do it. They put me in the hospital overnight so they could give me morphine for the pain because it was horrible. They put me in the hospital, and they started running their test because, you have to have the EKG and all of those things have to be checked before they can do any surgery. And the next morning, bright and early, they take me into the surgery. The anesthesiologist comes up to me and says, you told us you didn't have a heart attack. And I said, oh, never have. And he said, yeah, you did. And it was a big one. And it's been in the last month. I had actually died in that other hospital. But God didn't want me yet. He didn't want me yet. So he sent me back. And in January of this year, on January 14th, I took my final chemo treatment. On January 19th, because I'm a big, strong girl, I got up and got myself dressed. I told my husband if I didn't have to do this, I wouldn't do this. But our little boy was in a cheer competition 85 miles from the house. And like the good person that I am, I insisted on being there. He calls me mom. I'm raising him. So I got in the car and I drove the full 85 miles. I had to go all the way around Dallas and up north. And I got there fine. Got him out of the car, walked the arena twice. I was feeling faint. Don't usually walk a lot. Don't usually do that, especially during the time I was taking the chemo. It was really hard on the body. But I walked it twice because we couldn't find our group. And I started feeling faint. And I saw a section where there was one lady, one was the mother and daughter, sitting on the top row of this arena. And since we're at the top, I pushed him into the second row and sat down beside him. And what seemed like immediately, there was a security guard beside me, and he said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine. I'm fine. What's wrong with you?" He said, "Well, when people go to passing out on us, we like to have them checked out." And I said, "Pass out? I'm fine." The lady above me, I looked at her and I said, "What's he talking about?" She said, "You went totally out." She told me my eyes rolled way back in my head. And then I'm looking again and the EMS are there. I passed out again. So I finally came to enough to grab my phone and text his team and tell them where I was and that somebody needed to come get him. And in just a few minutes, they were all over the place. I had the security guard, the EMS, the lady above me, and his whole team and all of the parents. He's in a special needs team, and they were all there. And they were like, "Christian, you come go with us. You come go with us. Hey, Mama, you come go with us." Excuse me. They took me to the first aid room and hooked me up to all the monitors. And my blood pressure was 60/40 at that minute. And I said, "Might as well call an ambulance. I ain't walking out of here." I blacked out again in the ambulance. I don't know how long I was in the ER. My husband was, he had to call someone to come get him and bring him because I had our car. So he called his daughter. They all showed up. His daughter, his son, his daughter-in-law, one of the grandchildren. They all showed up. And but the doctor, they were working on me. And I thought everything was normal. And all of a sudden I hear all of the alarms going off, that. And I open my eyes and the nurse is running round and round my bed, one side to the other. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And the noise would not stop. And the doctor came running in and he said, "What happened?" And she said, "Full code." And y'all, I'm old enough and smart enough to know full code means this person's not breathing. Their heart's not beating and their blood's not pumping. But I was pretty much out of it. So I said, what does that mean? And this doctor looks at me and he goes, she's not coding now. Every time I would try to just roll over and close my eyes, he would say, no, ma'am, you cannot go back to sleep. I need to know, do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a living will? Do you have, yes, 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 I have all of that. He said, who is your power of attorney? My husband. He said, you can't go back to sleep until I get these answers from you. If you do that again, do you want us to resuscitate? Well, of course. I'm not old enough for that. He said, I have to know. You have to tell me, do you want to be resuscitated? And I said, yes, of course I do. Well, when my husband and the girls, the daughter and the daughter-in-law came in, everyone had on masks. And I said, what? Why are y'all masked up? The hospital wouldn't let them come in the room with me without a mask. My immunity was 0. My white blood cell count was less than 0.2. My hemoglobin was so low that they wouldn't tell me how much it was. I was in the hospital a week. Everyone who came in wore their masks. They did that so that they wouldn't infect me. I was not allowed out of my room. It was kind of funny because one night I had ordered my supper and there's a knock on the door and the door was closed. And I said, come in. And the woman said, your tray's here. Okay. Well, you can come in and bring it. No, ma'am, I can't come in. I said, leave it at the nurse's station. They'll bring it right to me. And they did. And we got to laughing. I don't know what she expected me to do. I couldn't get out of the bed. I got to laughing because I couldn't get up. They had me strapped down so many ways. I had blood transfusion here and IV here. I had 8 holes in this arm where they tried to find a vein. Eight holes. I had 6 holes in the right arm. They couldn't find a vein. They finally had to call someone to come in with a sonogram and find my vein. And the only thing he could find was way down inside this elbow. And when they pulled that thing out, the day I left the hospital, they pulled that out and the blood squirted everywhere. That's how they got me blood. That's how they gave me a transfusion. It was all they could do. I coded in the ER. I was there 5 days, came home, went back to the hospital February 10th. My husband took me to the local urgent care. I ended up in another hospital for another week. All of this because the enemy was trying to take me out. But hey, I love my Jesus. God has a work for me to do, and I'm going to do it. I'm just now beginning to find my strength, but I'm going to do what he asked. So every day, I'll make a new video. Every day, without fail. I love you. Have a great day. Follow me, share me. There's some information in my bio. My name's Ida, and I am a victim of amazing grace. Thank you for watching. Bye. Pick up the phone and call a licensed Humana sales agent today, or visit our website to see if you could save. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Now, usually, no, usually, I get something that says share and save and share. Okay.